Real quick, I'd like to show you how I approach the night shift. So our night shift starts around 8 p.m. and at 8 p.m. I'll get the list from the other residents and we'll do handoff, noting any watchers, going over important tasks for the night. So after we're done signing out, I will grab a blank piece of paper. Usually I'll grab it from the printer and I will fold it in half like this. And then fold it in half the other way so that I have it in fours. And then at the top of each corner, each box, I'll note like a specific time. So I get there at 8, so my first box will be 8. So let me write that down. So I have my sheet as 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m., and 12 a.m. as common times you'll get tasked for. So most of the tasks will actually be in the first hour. So what I'll do is I'll make a checkbox and then I'll write what the list number is and the tasks. So I'll show you what that looks like. So I'll have a checkbox, write the patient name and the list number or letter that they're coming from, because you'll get several different lists depending on how your hospital is. It could be like list A, B, C, or list 1, 2, 3, whichever. So I'll have that listed in parentheses and what the task is. So you'll have a couple of boxes throughout each. As you go through the night, you can check mark off the task that you completed. I like to actually use a color pen so I can see it's pretty visible. So I will color mine in green or whatever color. There are some tasks that fit kind of in between, so I'll like actually make the box, cut it in half. Like for example, 12 a.m. there's not usually that many tasks, but there's some tasks like at 4 or 5 a.m. So I'll like subdivide that section just because there's not as many tasks. So I'll have like a 5 a.m. section here with the tasks. And some of the tasks don't have time, but I usually put the most urgent ones or the ones for watchers, for example, in this 8 p.m. box so that they're more like front and center and I'm thinking about them at the beginning of the night. So it's like easier to think about them. And then towards like somewhere like around like 12 a.m. I'll like review the tasks that have been colored in, and if they haven't been done, I'll actually get a yellow highlighter and highlight around it so that I am thinking about it, because it can be like hard to miss some of the task boxes if you've already gone, like let's say you're in the 12 a.m. section but there's still something unresolved here. You might like forget about it, so I will like take a highlighter and highlight the box. And now you can color in your list however you want. Sometimes, or some people, and I do this, is I'll like color in half the box so that I know it's in progress but it just hasn't been completed. For example, labs, if labs have been drawn but the labs have not resulted, I'll usually do it as like a half box. Another example is a task involving something a nurse may have to do on their end. So if I've asked the nurse, I'll color it in half and until I can follow up with the nurse about that. So anyway, so I've colored them in, and let's say this task is only half done. I will take a highlighter and kind of circle it like this so that I know, like, you know, that my eye kind of goes back and make sure that I cross it out. So in this setting, let's say it's like 5 a.m. and I finally get around to finishing up this task, I will properly fill it in and kind of do a cross mark to note that that is complete. So this way everything is on one page and you can see all your tasks. For me, this method makes it less likely to miss things. Now at some point around 12 a.m. it's a good time, because there's less tasks, to look at all of your lists and make sure none of the tasks didn't make it to your list. It's rare, but sometimes it does happen. So like around this quieter time, to double back and make sure that you haven't missed any tasks on the original list that aren't included on here. So it's just a good checkpoint here to just double check and make sure that you didn't forget any of the other tasks in the original list that you got. Anyway, I hope that explains a general approach to task organization on night shift. This approach works for me, but if you found a different method that works for you, then that's great. I'm just hoping to provide a starting point, an example for how I approach that. Anyway, I hope that's helpful.